The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show. It's brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors. Is this one? levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. There is a 10% discount on your legal fees if you go to that address, where you can find a massive range of services. I don't think you even need to list them now, Michael.
I don't think so. People know, don't they?
Yeah, and
But
people generally know to use a website also.
You get 10% off all of them, though, don't you?
On your legal fees.
Not limited.
No, legal fees.
Legal fees.
Yeah.
What else would I meant?
I don't know.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I feel like it's an important factor to mention.
10% off your legal fees, yeah.
Yeah. That's why they said that to us, so we could say that to everybody else.
Fine.
So we'll find new ways to mess this read up as we go forward. Now the backlash has started, as we've established in recent weeks. People hating on you for...
It's fair enough. People aren't even shouting it in the street anymore. It's really disappointing.
Do you still get people coming up to you and saying it outside the stadium?
I feel like...
That being Will's probate conveyancing.
Yeah, I feel like a faded pop star. I feel like I was in Bros.
Right.
Now no one cares.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
I've missed the backlash. What was that?
I just want to whack. I said it's boring.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, should we talk about football?
I was just going to say we should invite other people to do the read for us. We could play them out. That's one way to do it.
Save me a job, I suppose. Yeah. I'm up for that.
Just have like a different twist on it every time, like cover versions, if you like.
If people want to record the podcast for us as well, that'd be great.
Yeah. I've got loads of other jobs people can do as well if they want.
Picking and packing merch.
Yeah. Dropping the kids at school's a pain in the arse, isn't it? Anyone want to do that?
Yeah.
My car needs cleaning if anyone's up for it.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for that. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball, 10% discount on your legal fees. We are recording on Wednesday lunchtime now, but this will be coming out heading into Thursday, so we don't know how Southampton got on at home to Preston when this comes out, but we know they're finished, as we've established. Mm-hmm. Worth probably just saying that I think we've been chatting this morning. It was us three who were on the match ball, and we recorded that, sort of 12, 13 hours ago, whatever. I feel a lot more relaxed about the Stoke game. Now I've slept on it. Compared to the stress that I felt coming out of Ellen Road. It's fine, wasn't it, in the end? We could have had more in that first half. And reading like the Stoke reaction, they were saying like their keeper probably stopped it being 4 or 5 in that first half.
Yeah, I've watched the highlights back now. We should have won by more. Was where I left Ellen Road feeling a bit like we've managed to hang on and scrape to 1-0, whereas actually I watched it back and went, actually on the basis of the chances we had, probably 2-0, 2-1, 3-1 would have been a fair result as well, but sad, isn't it? Sad and stressful when you're actually watching a game and you're seeing it all unfolding.
I think I said before, though, you do need to kind of emotionally pace yourself through a season. I think Farker even alluded to it in his post-match presser, saying it's not all fireworks. Sometimes it's just a candle. And, I think it's fine to say like a slightly ground out 1-0 win isn't the most exciting game you've ever seen, is it? It's like
Tuesday night against Stoke is the old cliche, isn't it?
It should be in Stoke.
In Stoke, yeah.
In theory, but, similar. It was cold, wasn't it?
Just a twist on the theme. It was quite cold, actually, yeah.
Wasn't windy enough, was it?
No, that's true.
No. And we saw the other teams won. We'll see how it all unfolds, eh? I know the players are possibly showing a little bit of fatigue, but I'm really looking forward to the Friday night game again now. Like I was happy for it to come to an end last night. I was like, I'm tired. Just because I'm tired, generally, I think.
I'm really looking forward to the 9-day turnaround to Millwall. That'll feel like such a treat, and then it's the international break.
Come next Tuesday when there's no midweek game, and it's been Friday since we've played Sheffield Wednesday, you'll be getting clucky waiting for it again. Give me some football. Give me some football. Yeah. So we do play again first, don't we, on Friday? We'll preview that properly with Phil. We're going to record that one tomorrow, get it out for you on Friday. And then we play last for a couple of rounds after that, don't we? So like the Millwall game on the Sunday heading into the international break, and then again Watford and Hull are both the late kickoffs for Easter. Good Friday and Easter Monday.
So which one are we going top of the league on?
One of my mates, hello Wayne, has messaged me and said it will be this weekend coming up where we go second.
Go second,
yeah.
Okay. And then top the week after?
Well, we could, obviously because we're playing first, there's a very realistic chance of that. If we win, it will happen. But it's the staying there.
It'll move around. It'll move around.
It's fine. I was thinking after the Huddersfield game, when was the last time we just got to enjoy a match without like this huge existential reflection that comes after it? It feels like years, basically. It's always tied to promotion or relegation. Or I was thinking even after the Leicester game, which everyone loved and enjoyed, and everyone was reflecting on like, how do we keep Ellen Road like this? Like, are we going to lose that? And it's like, I just kind of would love to watch 90 minutes. Just like, that was a game of football.
I've been trying really hard to experience it like that. I think this week is the first week when I felt it, but I think it's just a bit of general fatigue from the build-up of games and having to turn around so many shows so quickly, which, this is not a Paul Me thing, but talking about Leeds just about every day does get a bit wearing.
See, I think there was probably
emotionally.
I think there was probably a sweet spot around the beating Cardiff and Preston time where we were still quite a distance off first and second, so you could go, look, we won a couple of games, it's good. We're almost certainly going to be in the playoffs, aren't we? And the playoffs is, given the difficult start, it's fine. We're still in the hunt for it. You never know, a good set of wins, etc., and we'll get up there. But then we actually did win loads of games, and then all of a sudden we can almost touch it, and you're like, oh.
The worst possible thing we could have done, winning all those games.
It really is. It's made it so much more difficult. Like, normally, if we'd have drawn a couple of other games in there and maybe lost one, drawing at Huddersfield wouldn't have felt so bad, but drawing at Huddersfield after winning loads in a row, you go, oh, God,
yeah,
what the fuck's wrong with us? Why can't we just win this one as well? But you can't win them all, can you?
No.
Which isn't very fair.
And we came really close to winning it. We came close to winning the Stoke away game. There's been loads of moments like that, but that is football, isn't it? And we're not the only team that's going to experience that over the season. It's like, you got to remember, Ipswich, for all they appear to be unkillable, they won one game in 9, which is what has allowed us to reel them back in. So let's just see how it all unfolds. Let's be philosophical. Let's be zen. Let's be relaxed. Let's channel Daniel Farker, have some cake, and see how it all plays out. And next season, we're paying the same prices for the season tickets, regardless of whether it's up or down. How do you feel about that with the renewals having gone out?
It's a bit weird, the renewals this year, isn't it? I feel like it's...
What are they hiding, Michael Normanton?
I do feel like it's all a bit of a secret.
Yeah.
I mean, from my point of view, I've had the email to say it's my final year of my 20-year season ticket.
You going to bother after that?
I might as well.
Yeah.
I've come this far with it, haven't I?
Yeah.
So I'll stick with. But
what a 20 years that has been.
I didn't have it for the full 20 years, it's worth saying. I did buy 13 years of it because part of the deal was you could sell them because people move away, die, etc. So they were all transferable. But final year of that. But I don't know. Are the prices fair? I have no idea.
I don't know because we don't really know what the prices are. But what we do know is that there's a thread on Wacko about this, so you can kind of dip into that and see the some of the disparity. Like the East Upper, somebody's paying 798, somebody's paying 668.
Yeah, and in the Cop it seems to be 554 seems to be the lower end of it, but some people seem to be 661. So
they're the more are they the ones that have bought them more recently? And
yeah.
You pay a higher price for being a new customer rather than a renewal, but then the price doesn't seem to drop upon renewal.
No, it seems like
I'm confused by it all.
I think they've put them up by new season tickets have gone on sale at a higher price in the past,
right?
But renewals have been at the same rate or gone up by a percentage in the past. So there's this weird disparity, and I do kind of agree with the idea of bringing everyone in line because it seems weird to not.
Yeah, you shouldn't be sat next to somebody who is in the same category of seat and paying different prices.
Yeah, and particularly now because everyone who has, because they've not really been available for a while, apart from for odd people off a waiting list, it feels like nearly everyone with one has had one for a while now. So it seems unfair that they pay different prices. Obviously, they've chosen to bring the low end up rather than the high end down, which is a way of essentially increasing the price of moving everyone up to a price that previously only a few people were paying.
Yeah, and you can't see the explanation for it, the rationale, without thinking, well, what they're just going to do is keep creeping the prices up. They're not, like you say, they're not going to start to chip away at the top end, are they? They'll just bring everything up towards the top end. Yeah, eventually. But such is the nature of things, and this is the other thing: is like you can sort of objectively say that nobody likes the price of things to rise because the price of everything is rising. It's an expensive time to be alive right now, isn't it? Energy bills going up. I also appreciate, on the other hand, it's true that the club's energy bills will be going up, and it's not a charity, and they want to make money, and so on and so forth. And we can waste it on some footballers, then, can't we?
I will say it's
and you can kind of, both things can be true,
Yeah, and the price of season tickets going up isn't as bad as like the price of food going up because you can always choose not to have a season ticket.
Yeah,
whereas choosing not to have food is more problematic, generally speaking. But yeah, I'd rather things were cheap, and I think football as a whole, pretty much every aspect of it is inflated to a ridiculous degree. Match day tickets, season tickets, shirts, TV subscriptions.
Yeah. But
I basically hate all of it.
I was just going to say that's the thing that, but that's the thing. It's because it feels like they're exploiting an addiction or an emotional attachment to it, doesn't it? It's not the same as just a simple transaction of walking into a shop and buying a loaf of bread because, like, say, you could buy a cheaper loaf of bread, a smaller loaf, whatever it might be, but you've only got one Leeds United, and your entire life is defined by it. So you've got no choice but to hand money over. So I think people feel like it's less transactional and naturally would veer towards feeling exploited, if that's the right word. I'm not saying they are exploiting people, but that's how people perceive it.
I think as well, it's for the people who've been season ticket holders for years and lived through Bates, League One, Chileno, all that sort of stuff. It feels like you sort of owed something.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, I know now you could sell the tickets, but I had a season ticket when there were like 16,500 people here on a Tuesday night, so I deserve more.
Give me stuff.
And it is hard to shift that from your head, because you're like, but it used to be terrible and I still came then. And why do I not get some benefit for that? Which, I can understand the feeling.
I think that's the thing, though. We've got the prices in front of us of season tickets and match day prices, and I look at it all and I just think that's all really expensive. And it was last season when they announced the 10% rise in season ticket prices, and there was no quotes from anyone in the senior management at Leeds, but it did say, we understand this is a bit shit, basically, in a cost of living crisis, but this helps us maintain our responsible running of the club or whatever. But then you also had Angus Kinnear and Andrea Radrizzani in interviews previously saying, we waste loads of money because we've got loads of it, so it doesn't really matter. And you think, it doesn't really match up, does it? And I know people go, well, they're not going to be free tickets or whatever because you need to buy players and pay for them. But the thing is, if we get promoted, we get a huge amount of TV money. I think it was yesterday they announced like a record EFL TV rights deal. And I just can't not look at it and go, fucking hell, that's a lot of money, isn't it?
That's the EFL, and then if you get into the Premier League, it's just
ridiculous, isn't it?
It's levels above, yeah. And that's the other thing, is that I think they need to be careful as well, because Leeds support has voted with its feet in the past. So you've got to be careful to maintain the product and not overestimate people's loyalty, because people will walk away from it if it starts to turn to shit. Because naturally people do.
Yeah, I mean, the slow drift away from coming down from the Premier League years back, the attendance has just dropped a bit over and over and over again. And occasionally for big games they come back, but people stopped going because they could see the football club wasn't attempting to be a football club anymore. It was a cash cow for Bates, and then it was whatever GFH and Chileno were trying to do with it, which was, I'm still not entirely sure why either of them bought it. They just sort of seem to buy it on a whim and then be like, oh shit, it's a big problem, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's just money everywhere and we don't really know what to do with it. But there's a point where you think, well, they're not trying to get promoted here, so why should I invest in it? Whereas it feels like at the moment there's still a lot of goodwill there, and we clearly are a good side still with who's still spending money on footballers. So as long as that balance is maintained, it's kind of all right. Next year, if we don't go up and we have a summer where we sell Gray and Somerville and Nonto, and then all of a sudden we spend a few million, and they still go, it's still 47 quid if you want to sit in the East Stand.
That will quickly evaporate.
To watch us play against Preston, people will be like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But also, if we go up, and it's kind of links to the stadium redevelopment as well, and that question of how does Ellen Road retain its soul, it's like, well, part of that redevelopment is going to be a massive increase in corporate and hospitality parts of it. And if they're worried about how does Ellen Road retain its soul, they need to be very mindful not to price out the actual proper supporters.
Yeah, I mean, well, we had, I think it was both Kinnear and when we spoke to Marate on the show with Phil, so when it was the Phil Hay show over with The Athletic, when he popped on for that, and I think they both, or one of them has said they use the corporate income to try and keep general admission prices.
But football people
reasonable.
always lie about this.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, is that you do need to be really careful and understand that there is a breaking point, and I think the capacity for it to evaporate is a lot more present than they perhaps realise, even though there's a huge demand at the minute. And I know that football has changed, and you look at the attendances like West Ham get, for example, 60,000 people, and it's much more of a kind of a tourist attraction, full stop. But it still feels quite fragile. You just need to be really careful and mindful about how you do that growth and that expansion, as Rob was saying there, and not to lose those traditional supporters, because these prices are already verging on, not the season ticket prices necessarily, but the match day prices are verging on.
Match day prices are really expensive,
and
considering you need to buy memberships on top.
Well, that was the other point I was going to say, is that they've put some tickets on general sale, haven't they, this season, but they've done it quite quietly.
Yeah, I mean, it was the right thing to do, because it's pointless having empty seats, isn't it? But to kind of guarantee yourself tickets, you need to be a member. Well, I say guarantee, it's not even a guarantee. To give yourself a good chance of getting tickets, you need to be a member. And then that's 70 quid on top of everything else. And then
it's 45, isn't it, to be in the hat for the tickets? I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's about that.
What's 70 quid then?
That's the top tier.
So where you get like LUTV and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
But still, it's still another cost, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the general point of football is it's just got an insatiable desire for money, and they just spend everything they get anyway.
I mean,
and then laugh about it when it goes wrong.
Is the gist of it? It's like all of a sudden you go, well, we don't want any more games, obviously, but they've kind of offered this, and we don't want any more fixture moves. But then they've carved out this new TV slot. It's like, so we're going to have to agree to it, aren't we? Because we need the money.
Because money, yeah. And we'll spend it on inflated wages and more
benefits
players.
really.
No. But talking about empty seats actually seems to be the motivator for the 80% threshold for non-attendance. So if you don't attend, in air quotes, 80% of games, you are in danger of not being offered a renewal or take your season ticket off you. And of course, as we said, the attendance is classified as you attending in person or selling it to friends and family or selling it back to the exchange. So basically, they just don't want empty seats. They don't want people to just not turn up.
Complain about that, really.
There is an argument for saying, well, if I've paid for my season ticket seat, then I can do what the hell I want with it.
But when there's the exchange there, that makes it very easy to just sell on and let a fan use it. That just seems sensible to me. I mean, I think last night for Stoke, there was plenty of tickets on the exchange in the days leading up to the game.
Yeah, I don't think many people would object to that.
Was it maybe just framed a little bit questionably?
There can't be many people doing that anyway, surely.
Enough for them to make it a thing.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's probably more of a thing in the Championship where there are more midweek games, and we've got quite a lot of fans who travel from further afield, haven't we? So
got to hoover up that sweet merch and food revenue, haven't they, as well?
I mean, the club make money off the ticket exchange as well, don't they? Because they are obviously taking back a season ticket. They're paying you your season ticket price for it.
And flogging it
then
at 40 odd quid.
at the match day price, don't they? So they do benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So no particular arguments with that. Yeah, I mean, given where we are, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's in the balance, isn't it? Like the promotion, or like you said, the non-promotion results in us inevitably selling players to balance the books. So it does become a much harder sell under those circumstances, doesn't it? It's it's interesting. The timing's interesting. The position we're in is interesting. The state of football finances in general, and the tightening up of FFP and stuff like that in the Premier League.
The prices are basically fine if we're good,
right?
And if we're not good, they're really expensive.
Yeah.
It's what it's going to boil down to. And people will, and if we're good and we're playing against good teams, we could sell double the number of tickets if we wanted to. But if we're shit and playing shit teams, there'll be empty seats when we play Sheffield Wednesday next year. Just
talking about FFP, actually, you were saying before we started recording, weren't you, that Leicester fans are a bit worried about if they don't go up, if they somehow blow it from here, what's going to happen to them? Because we've seen the news that they're potentially in breach of FFP in the Premier League, so could face a points deduction if they are to go up. If they don't go up, could be absolute Armageddon.
Yeah, I mean they didn't have the same sort of relegation wage drops and release clauses and stuff as we did, which was a benefit to them in some ways. But then it means they're lumbered with these players, and we'll need to sell quite a lot of them next year. So I'm looking forward to going up next year. It'll be better.
Leicester will choke and we will go up, Michael.
Maybe so.
That's what we're telling ourselves anyway. Rounding up the other news then, Gary Monk back in work, isn't he? Slithered into a job at Cambridge.
Passed me by this, to be fair, but replacing Neil Harris,
it's just one of those.
How his stock has fallen, eh?
Just one of those points you think, oh, the whole thing. The whole thing's just horrible. Yeah, I still follow him on Twitter.
Garrary.
Yeah. What's what are Cambridge called?
The U's.
The U's.
Yeah.
He'll be doing lots of up the U's tweets or whatever when he's soon. It won't be
generic.
Him. Well, no.
Not that I can view them, because whoever it is that's controlling his social media account got fed up of me tweeting saying he was a snake and blocked us at the square ball.
Is he tweeting about the project yet, or the group?
Not noticed, actually. I bet it is a good group there.
You're right about his stock absolutely tumbling, by the way, because I think I had a conversation with one of my mates the other week, just sort of saying, what's Gary Monk up to these days? We were all right for a bit under him, and then he kind of went off and did his Sheffield Wednesday bit, and then
When we
There's
got
a bit of Middlesbrough. Then he's just kind of nobody. It seems like nobody wants to touch him, and I don't know why that is.
when we got him, it was amazing. Really, everyone was like, "Fucking hell, that's actually really." That seems like a much better appointment because we'd spent a year trying to get Darryl Clark and
Cal Robinson, wasn't
Cal
it?
Robinson nearly got the job, and then all of a sudden we got Gary Monk. He's like, "Oh well, he's better than all of them." Oh, all right, fair enough. But he was fine for us, wasn't he? He gave us an all right year that ended in failure.
That was a year where the crowd sort of started to come back. Then, wasn't it, that season? It was an enjoyable season, and apart from the way it ended and the way he left.
Wrapping up the stuff that the other teams have done then. The women lost 3-2 to Durham Sestria. The 21s lost 2-0 at Leicester. And Rob, you attended this one. The 18s beat Liverpool 3-1 at Ellen Road in the FA Youth Cup.
Well, I attended the first half, I must admit, because I bought a ticket and then was like, do I even want to go to this? And I got there and was a bit like, what am I doing with my life? But
you need to meet my dad.
Yeah.
He managed 75 minutes against Stoke.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yes, he's getting there.
It's not bad.
But no, the 18s played really well, actually. I think the stat. So they've reached the semi-final. They're going to play Millwall, which I think is going to be at Ellen Road again. I think it's only like the fourth time they've reached this stage. But they played really well. They was. I kind of went thinking Harry Gray might be playing, and I thought it'd be good to see just how good he is. But it turns out I think he's too young to even qualify for this competition. There were some kids around me asking why isn't Archie playing, which, bearing in mind this was like 24 hours after he just won man of the match against Chelsea, I thought was harsh. But then I looked at the team and I think Archie would have been like he was younger than about 6 of the Leeds team, which is ridiculous. But they played really well. It was 3-1. Josh McDonald, who played on the left wing, looked really good. There's a few players that looked really good. There was a nice moment. I saw Charlie Cresswell in the East End Concourse. He was there to watch his little brother, Alfie, who played well. And there was a nice moment where they acknowledged the crowd at the end of the warm-up, and it was almost like their take on the Revy wave. They just all went over as a group and applauded the crowd. And then, is it Mally Watkins or Mally Wilson? A sprinkler came on and just absolutely soaked him, which kind of ruined the vibe.
Oh, my mum said I can't get wet today.
But no, they played really well. And yeah, Millwall in the semi-final, which is a good Leeds United rite of passage for them.
The Square Ball Podcast.